The final battle for the galaxy began when the main Devourer fleet reached the edge of human space and encountered defenses unlike anything they had faced in millions of years of conquest. Admiral Nancy Foster stood in the command center of the UES Humanity's Pride, watching as thousands of enemy bioships moved into formation for what they expected to be an easy victory. Dr. Kevin Brooks had perfected his biological weapons, and the results exceeded every human expectation. The viral agents designed to attack Devourer neural networks spread through the enemy fleet faster than their hive mind could adapt to counter them. Admiral, the infection rate is incredible. Each contaminated ship becomes a weapon against the others. Their collective intelligence system is actually helping us spread the virus through their entire fleet. Captain Helen Douglas led the human attack fleet using tactics that combined every lesson learned from previous encounters with the enemy. Her ships moved in chaotic patterns that confused the Devourer targeting systems while delivering devastating attacks. All ships remember they expect us to fight like the alien species they conquered before. Use everything we have learned about their weaknesses, and do not give them time to adapt. General Paul Mitchell coordinated the battle from Earth's strategic command center, where real-time data from across human space showed the tide of war turning in humanity's favor for the first time. Nancy, the Devourers are losing ships faster than they can replace them. Our unconventional tactics are working better than we dared hope. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Parker had successfully hacked into the enemy communication network and was using their own quantum entanglement system against them. General, I am feeding false information into their hive mind network. The Devourers think they are facing a much larger fleet than we actually have, and they are making tactical errors based on bad data. The turning point came when Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner led a massive boarding operation against the largest Devourer command ship. His teams fought through the biomechanical corridors using tactics that no civilized species would consider acceptable. Turner to Fleet Command, we have captured the primary control node. Repeat, we are inside their main command ship and taking control of their biosystems. Jake Morrison watched the battle from the Bridge of the Liberty with amazement and pride. The species that had been written off as too dangerous and reckless to save was now saving every civilization in the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Martinez analyzed the enemy fleet's behavior and realized that something unprecedented was happening. Jake, the Devourer hive mind is fragmenting. Their collective intelligence cannot process the chaos of human warfare tactics. Individual ships are beginning to act independently, and that is destroying their coordination. Tony Walsh had developed the ultimate weapon against the biomechanical enemy. His Devourer bombs used captured alien technology to create chain reactions that turned enemy ships against each other. Commander, each bomb we detonate weakens their entire fleet. The bioships are connected through organic networks that carry the destructive effects from one vessel to another. As human forces pressed their advantage, something unexpected happened. Long-range sensors detected ships approaching from the direction of the galactic core, where the alien council had been hiding during the war. Amy Carter intercepted communications from the approaching vessels, and her translation programs revealed that the fleeing aliens were returning to a galaxy they thought would be destroyed. Commander, I am receiving surrender signals from multiple council species. They are requesting permission to approach human-controlled space. Admiral Foster appeared on the communication screen from Earth Command with an expression that mixed satisfaction with exhaustion. Jake, we are getting contact requests from every major alien government. They want to negotiate with the species they abandoned to die. The first alien ship to arrive was a Zephyrian diplomatic vessel carrying High Counselor Zexathanor, who had been one of the leaders who decided to abandon humanity. His holographic image appeared on the Bridge of the Liberty, and his voice carried shame and desperation. Humans, we must speak immediately. Our calculations were completely wrong. Your species has accomplished what we believed was impossible. Captain Ben Rodriguez tracked the incoming alien fleets and reported that dozens of council species were emerging from their hiding places as news of human victory spread through quantum communication networks. Sir, I count over 300 alien ships requesting safe passage through human space. They all want to return to their abandoned colonies. Ambassador Victoria Hayes arrived from Earth aboard the diplomatic ship UES Unity to handle negotiations with the returning aliens. She was a skilled negotiator who had represented humanity in council meetings before the Great Silence began. Admiral Foster, I am prepared to meet with alien representatives, but I want them to understand that humanity is no longer the junior partner in these discussions. Dr. Martinez studied the data from the final battle and made calculations that impressed even her. Jake, we did not just defeat the Devourer fleet, we completely destroyed their ability to threaten any other galaxy. The viral weapons and tactical innovations we developed could be used to protect other civilizations if they face similar threats. High Counselor Zexathanor appeared before the assembled human leadership with representatives from dozens of alien species who had fled the galaxy in fear. Humans, your forgiveness is not something we deserve, but we must ask for it anyway. We abandoned you because we believed your aggressive nature would doom us all. Instead, that same nature saved every living being in the galaxy. Admiral Foster listened to the alien apologies with the authority of someone who had led a species through its greatest trial. Counselor, your species made a choice based on fear and prejudice. You decided that humans were too dangerous to be trusted with the survival of galactic civilization. You are wrong about the danger, but you are right about us being different. General Mitchell had been studying the final battle reports and realized the full scope of what humanity had accomplished. The Devourers had conquered hundreds of galaxies over millions of years using the same tactics. They evolved specifically to counter advanced civilizations that fought wars according to established rules and conventions. They never encountered a species that ignored those rules completely. Captain Douglas brought the UES Defiance back from the battle zone, carrying captured Devourer technology that would revolutionize galactic civilization. Admiral, we have enough enemy biotechnology to study for decades. The knowledge we gain could help every species in the galaxy develop better defenses against future threats. Jake Morrison stood before the assembled alien representatives with the confidence of someone who had seen his species prove its worth under impossible circumstances. Counselors, you abandoned us because you thought we were reckless and unpredictable. You were absolutely right, and that is exactly why we won. The galaxy does not need more species that follow the rules. It needs species that are willing to break them when survival is at stake. Lieutenant Colonel Parker had been analyzing the broader implications of human victory and made a prediction that would prove accurate. General, the other species in this galaxy will never underestimate humanity again. We have proven that sometimes the greatest mistakes lead to the most extraordinary outcomes. Dr. Brooks presented his research findings to the mixed human and alien audience with scientific precision. The Devourer hive mind was designed to adapt to logical, predictable threats. Human warfare is fundamentally illogical and unpredictable. We do not fight to minimize casualties or preserve resources. We fight to win regardless of cost, and that approach was incomprehensible to an enemy that had never faced it before. As the celebration continued across human space, the aliens who had once fled in terror now sought protection and alliance with the species they had thought too primitive to save. Ambassador Hayes addressed the mixed gathering with words that would define galactic politics for generations to come. The Council left humanity in silence because they feared our nature would doom the galaxy. Instead, our nature saved it. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to learn that being civilized and being effective are not always the same thing. Admiral Foster had the final word as ships from across the galaxy gathered in human space to witness the species that had refused to accept defeat. The funny thing about being left in silence is that it taught us to speak for ourselves. We answered that silence with victory, and now the whole galaxy is listening. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison and the Liberty first detected the Devourer fleet approaching from extragalactic space. Earth and every human colony had transformed from peaceful trading posts into military strongholds bristling with weapons that no alien species had ever imagined using in space warfare. Dr. Kevin Brooks stood in his laboratory on Earth, looking at samples of Devourer biomaterial that had been captured from advanced scout ships. His research team had worked day and night to understand how the enemy vessels functioned, and what they had discovered gave humanity its first real advantage. Admiral Foster, these ships are essentially giant living organisms with mechanical components grafted onto their biological systems. That means they are vulnerable to diseases and toxins just like any other life form. Admiral Nancy Foster studied the test results with the kind of focus that had made her one of humanity's best military leaders. Around her in the command center, dozens of officers coordinated the largest military buildup in human history. Kevin, how long until you can weaponize these biological agents? We already have prototypes, Admiral. The viral agents we developed attack the neural networks that control ship functions. One infected devourer vessel can spread the disease to others in their fleet through their collective communication links. Captain Helen Douglas commanded the experimental ship UES Defiance, which had become the testbed for humanity's new approach to space warfare. Instead of following alien conventions about proper combat tactics, the humans were writing entirely new rules. Admiral, we have successfully tested nuclear warheads that can penetrate devourer bioarmor. Their organic hulls are tough, but they cannot withstand the same kinetic impacts that would destroy mechanical ships. General Paul Mitchell coordinated strategy from his war room, where human military doctrine was being rewritten in real time. The walls were covered with battle plans that combined modern space technology with tactics from every major conflict in human history. The key is unpredictability, Helen. The Devourers expect enemies to follow logical patterns and use advanced energy weapons. We are going to hit them with everything from Stone Age tactics to cutting-edge technology all at the same time. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Parker had been studying captured Devourer technology and made a discovery that excited every human commander. General, I have figured out how their hive mind communication system works. It uses quantum entanglement to link every ship in their fleet. If we can hack into that network, we might be able to turn their greatest strength into a weakness. The first real test of human tactics came when a small Devourer scouting force entered the Ross system, where they expected to find easy prey. Instead, they encountered something that confused and terrified them more than any enemy they had faced in millions of years. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner led the human defense force in the Ross system. His ships were outnumbered 10-1, but he had advantages that the enemy could not understand or counter. All ships prepare for ramming speed. Remember, these things evolved to fight civilized enemies who value their own lives. They do not know how to deal with humans who are willing to die to win. The Devourer scout ships moved into the system using the same tactics that had worked against thousands of other species. They expected the humans to form defensive lines and engage in traditional space combat with energy weapons and protective shields. Instead, the human ships scattered in random directions while launching nuclear weapons disguised as space debris. The Devourers tried to adapt their bioarmor to counter energy attacks, but found themselves being destroyed by simple kinetic impacts and radiation that their evolution had not prepared them for. Turner led his ship directly into the largest Devourer vessel in a suicide ramming attack that penetrated deep into the alien bioship. His crew fought their way through corridors filled with toxic atmosphere that would have killed most council species, but humans could survive with basic protective gear. Turner, to all ships, we are inside the enemy vessel, and it is just as vulnerable on the inside as we hoped. These things were designed to fight enemies who attack from outside. They never expected boarding parties. Dr. Lisa Martinez analyzed the battle data from her position aboard the Liberty and realized that humanity had discovered something revolutionary about fighting the Devourers. Jake, the enemy ships are completely helpless against internal attacks. Their bioarmor is designed to protect against external threats, but they have no immune system to fight enemies that get inside their bodies. Tony Walsh had been developing new weapons specifically designed to exploit Devourer weaknesses. His engineering teams created devices that no alien species would have thought to build. Commander, we have biological warfare agents that can be delivered by boarding parties. Once inside a Devourer ship, our people can infect it with viruses that spread through the entire fleet. The Ross system battle ended with complete victory for the human forces, despite being heavily outnumbered. More importantly, the battle data was transmitted to every human colony and military installation, giving them crucial intelligence about enemy weaknesses. Admiral Foster reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction and growing confidence. Paul, we have proof that our tactics work. The Devourers are powerful, but they are also predictable. They follow the same attack patterns that worked against alien species, but those patterns make them vulnerable to human creativity. General Mitchell was already planning the next phase of human strategy based on what they had learned. Nancy, we need to start preparing for the main fleet engagement. The scout force that attacked Ross will have transmitted data about our tactics back to the hive mind. The main fleet will try to adapt, but we can stay ahead of them by constantly changing our approach. Captain Douglas had been working with Dr. Brooks to develop combination attacks that mixed biological and conventional weapons. Her ship carried the first generation of what humans were calling devourer bombs. Admiral, these new weapons use captured enemy biomaterial to create chain reactions in their ships. We can literally turn their own biology against them. Lieutenant Colonel Parker coordinated with Special Forces teams that were training for boarding operations inside enemy vessels. These soldiers were equipped with gear that allowed them to survive in the toxic environment inside devourer ships. General, our boarding teams have developed techniques for fighting inside biomechanical environments. We can capture enemy ships intact and use them against the rest of their fleet. Jake Morrison watched the preparations from the Bridge of the Liberty with pride and amazement. Humanity had been abandoned by their alien allies because those allies thought humans were too reckless and dangerous to be trusted. Now that same human nature was proving to be exactly what the galaxy needed. Amy Carter intercepted communications from the main Devourer fleet, and what she heard confirmed that the enemy was confused and concerned about their encounters with human forces. Commander, the hive mind is having difficulty adapting to our tactics. Their collective intelligence evolved to counter logical, predictable strategies, but human warfare is too chaotic for them to analyze effectively. Ben Rodriguez tracked the movement of the main enemy fleet and noticed that their approach had slowed since the Ross system battle. Sir, the Devourers are proceeding more cautiously now. They seem to be studying human space and trying to understand what kind of enemy they are facing. Dr. Martinez realized that humanity's greatest advantage was not their weapons or their tactics, but their fundamental approach to warfare itself. Jake, the aliens were right about us being different. We do not fight wars the way advanced civilizations are supposed to. We fight wars the way primitive species fight for survival. And that primitive approach is exactly what we need against an enemy that has evolved to defeat advanced tactics. As the main Devourer fleet approached human space, they expected to face another species like all the others they had conquered. Instead, they were about to encounter an enemy that refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare and would use any tactic, no matter how brutal or unconventional, to achieve victory. The UES Liberty raced through space toward Earth while its sensors tracked something that defied all understanding. Behind them, in the darkness between galaxies, moved a fleet so massive that it blocked out the light from distant stars. Jake Morrison stood at the main viewing screen watching the sensor readings with growing amazement and horror. Dr. Lisa Martinez worked frantically at her science station, trying to analyze the data streaming in from their long-range scanners. What she saw challenged everything humans thought they knew about space warfare and alien technology. Jake, these ships are not built like anything we have ever seen. They appear to be grown rather than constructed. Each vessel shows organic signatures, mixed with mechanical components. It is like they are alive. Captain Ben Rodriguez enhanced the sensor images and put them on the main screen. The crew of the Liberty stared in silence at ships that looked more like giant sea creatures than spacecraft. Each Devourer vessel writhed and pulsed with a rhythm that suggested breathing or a heartbeat. Sir, I count over 8,000 individual ships in the main formation. The smallest ones are the size of our largest battleships, and the biggest ones are larger than Earth's moon. They move together like a school of fish or a flock of birds. Lieutenant Amy Carter had been monitoring communications from Earth since they sent their warning message. The response from human space was unlike anything the aliens had expected. Instead of panic and chaos, the human colonies were mobilizing for war with a speed that impressed even Jake. Commander, I have Admiral Nancy Foster on Quantum Link from Earth Command. She wants to speak with you immediately. The holographic image of Admiral Foster appeared on the bridge. She was a tough woman who had served in the human military for 30 years, and her expression showed determination rather than fear. Jake, we received your message about the alien evacuation and the approaching threat. Earth's government has declared a state of emergency, and we are mobilizing every ship and resource we have. How long do we have? 18 months, Admiral, maybe less. The Devourer fleet is moving faster than the alien predictions suggested. They seem to be accelerating. As they approach our galaxy, Admiral Foster nodded grimly, and Jake could see other military leaders gathering behind her in the command center. We are coordinating with all human colonies and military installations. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Parker is leading our tactical analysis team, and they have some ideas about how to fight these things. The image switched to show Lieutenant Colonel Parker, a younger officer who specialized in unconventional warfare tactics. His background included studying historical human conflicts that other species considered too brutal or chaotic to be effective. Commander Morrison, the aliens made a mistake when they decided we were too reckless to help. Human military doctrine has always been based on adapting to unexpected threats and using whatever works regardless of whether it follows established rules. Dr. Lisa Martinez leaned forward to speak with the officers on Earth. Colonel Parker, the alien data suggests that the Devourers have evolved to counter conventional space warfare tactics. They adapt their bioships to neutralize whatever weapons and strategies their enemies use against them. Parker smiled in a way that made Jake think he had already considered this problem. Doctor, that is exactly why human tactics might work. We never learned the proper way to fight space battles because we are new to galactic warfare. We make up our strategies as we go, and that unpredictability could be our greatest advantage. Admiral Foster took control of the conversation again, and her voice carried the authority of someone who had made difficult decisions before. Jake, I want you to continue monitoring the Devourer fleet and send us constant updates on their movements and capabilities. We are converting every available ship into a warship and developing new weapons specifically designed to fight biomechanical enemies. Tony Walsh had been studying the technical specifications of Devourer ships, and he had discovered something important. Admiral, the enemy vessels show weaknesses that the aliens might not have noticed. Their organic components need specific atmospheric conditions to function properly. If we can disrupt their internal environment, we might be able to damage them from the inside. The quantum link connection allowed real-time communication across vast distances, and Jake could see that Earth's war effort was already producing results. Dr. Kevin Brooks appeared on screen representing the civilian research teams that were working around the clock. Commander, we have been analyzing the alien data you sent, and we think we can develop biological weapons that target the Devourer organic systems. Humans have always been good at biological warfare, even if we do not like to admit it. Captain Helen Douglas joined the conversation from the experimental ship UES Defiance, which was being retrofitted with completely new weapon systems based on human rather than alien technology. Jake, we're going back to kinetic weapons and nuclear warheads instead of the energy-based systems that Council species prefer. If the Devourers evolved to counter advanced alien weapons, they might not know how to deal with older human technology. Ben Rodriguez had been tracking individual Devourer ships and noticed something that excited him. Admiral, I think I found a weakness in their formation flying. They move together as a group mind, but they do not seem to have individual ship commanders, making independent decisions. If we can disrupt their collective intelligence, we might be able to turn their coordination against them. General Paul Mitchell appeared on the communication link representing Earth's Strategic Command. He was an old soldier who had studied every major human conflict in history. Commander Morrison, the alien races fought wars like chess games with rules and predictable moves. Humans fight wars like street fights where anything goes and the winner is whoever survives. The Devourers may have evolved to beat chess players, but they have never faced street fighters. Lisa Martinez downloaded the latest tactical data from Earth's research teams, and what she saw gave her hope for the first time since they discovered the alien evacuation. Jake, look at this. Earth's military is developing strategies that combine modern space technology with guerrilla warfare tactics from human history. They plan to use suicide attacks, ramming ships, nuclear mines disguised as space debris, and boarding parties that fight the enemy from inside their own vessels. Amy Carter intercepted a Devourer communication signal that revealed something crucial about their psychology. Sir, the enemy fleet has been scanning our galaxy for months, studying the alien species that fled to the inner systems, but I do not think they know about humans yet. We might have the advantage of surprise. Jake realized that humanity's abandonment by the Council had given them an unexpected gift. The Devourers had prepared to fight aliens who used predictable strategies and advanced energy weapons. They were not ready for humans who fought with primitive determination, and refused to follow the rules. Amy, send a message to Admiral Foster. Tell her that we are going to continue tracking the enemy fleet and gathering intelligence. When the Devourers reach human space, they are going to discover that being left alone has made us very dangerous. The mic. Liberty continued its journey toward Earth, while behind them the Devourer fleet moved closer to a galaxy that thought it had seen every possible form of warfare. The aliens had fled because they believed humans were too reckless and unpredictable to help with their carefully planned retreat. Soon they would learn that human recklessness was exactly what the galaxy needed to survive. 3 weeks had passed since Jake Morrison and his crew discovered the empty alien station. The Liberty now traveled through space that should have been full of alien ships and colonies, but instead found only silence and abandoned worlds. Each empty planet they visited told the same story of hasty evacuation and fear. Dr. Lisa Martinez had become an expert at breaking alien codes and reading their emergency messages. Her desk was covered with data tablets showing translations from dozens of different alien languages. Every message painted a picture that made her more worried each day. Jake, I have been putting together all these messages and the story is becoming clear. 6 months ago, the Council received warnings from their deep space monitoring stations. Something was coming from the void between galaxies, and it was big enough to threaten every living thing in the Milky Way. Lieutenant Amy Carter worked at the communications station nearby. She had spent days trying to contact any aliens who might still be in the outer areas of the galaxy, but found nothing except automated distress beacons left behind by fleeing populations. Sir, I intercepted a Council military transmission that was meant for their inner system colonies. They are calling this threat the Devourer fleet. From what I can understand, it is some kind of hive mind species that consumes entire star systems for resources. Jake studied the star charts on the main screen. Red marks showed where alien colonies used to exist, and yellow marks showed where human settlements were located. The pattern was clear. Every alien population in the outer galaxy had retreated toward the galactic center, leaving humans scattered across the frontier like sitting ducks. Chief Engineer Tony Walsh had been examining the technology left behind on abandoned alien worlds. His engineering teams brought back strange devices and computer systems that the aliens had not had time to destroy before running away. Commander, these evacuation ships were built for long-term survival in deep space. The aliens planned to hide in the galactic core for decades or maybe even centuries. They brought enough supplies to wait out whatever is coming instead of fighting it. The ship's Dr. Pete Johnson had been studying alien medical records found on abandoned hospital ships. What he discovered made everyone understand how terrified the aliens had been. Jake, these medical logs show that several alien species tried to study captured samples of the approaching threat. Every research team that made contact with Devourer biomatter died within hours. The aliens concluded that direct confrontation was impossible. Lisa decoded another important message from a Zephyrian scientist named Kex Valor, who had worked on the Council's threat assessment team. His recording was made just before the final evacuation order. The Seers have calculated the approach vector and arrival time. The Devourer fleet will reach the outer spiral arms in 18 months. Their bioships convert all matter they encounter into new vessels for their swarm. Planets, asteroids, space stations, and even stars can be harvested by their technology. We estimate the fleet contains over 10,000 ships, each the size of a small moon. Captain Ben Rodriguez had been using the Liberty's advanced sensors to track the energy signatures left behind by departing alien fleets. His readings showed that thousands of ships had fled the outer galaxy in a coordinated retreat that must have taken months to plan. So the scale of this evacuation is incredible. Based on the warp trails I am detecting, the aliens moved their entire civilization inward. Every major species had evacuation fleets that could carry millions of beings. Jake felt a cold anger building in his chest as he realized the full scope of what the Council had done. They had known about this threat for months, and instead of warning humanity, they had chosen to abandon them. The aliens had written off the entire human species as an acceptable loss. Amy Carter intercepted another alien transmission that was even more disturbing. This one came from a Council military leader explaining why humans had been left behind. Species designation. Human shows psychological profiles incompatible with strategic retreat. Their aggressive tendencies and unpredictable behavior patterns would compromise evacuation security. Council decision final. Human territories will serve as early warning buffer zone. Tony Walsh looked up from the alien technology he was studying with disgust on his face. They are using us as bait, Jake. The aliens want the Devourer fleet to hit human space first so they will have more time to prepare their defenses in the inner galaxy. Dr. Johnson found medical data that showed the aliens had been studying human biology for years. Their research concluded that humans were more resistant to certain types of alien toxins and radiation, but the Council had never shared this information. There is something else, Jake. These medical files suggest that humans might actually survive in environments that would kill most Council species. The aliens knew this, but they still decided we were expendable. Lisa discovered the most important piece of information in an encrypted Council science database. The aliens had detected early scout ships from the Devourer fleet and learned crucial details about their technology and tactics. Jake, the Devourers are not just mindless destroyers. They are an ancient hive mind that has consumed hundreds of galaxies over millions of years. They have evolved specifically to counter the defensive strategies used by advanced civilizations. The data showed that the Devourer fleet always followed the same pattern when invading a galaxy. They would send scout ships to study the local species and their technology. Then they would adapt their bioships to counter whatever defenses they encountered. The aliens had concluded that conventional space warfare was useless against such an adaptive enemy. Ben Rodriguez made a discovery that changed everything. His long-range sensors detected the edge of something massive approaching from extragalactic space. Commander, I am reading energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. The contacts are still months away, but they are huge. Each ship appears to be the size of a small asteroid. Jake ordered the Liberty to change course toward the approaching threat. If the Devourer fleet was really coming, then humanity needed to see what they were facing. As they traveled toward the galactic edge, the crew prepared for first contact with an enemy that had terrified the entire Galactic Council into abandoning their homes. Amy sent a message back to Earth. Tell them everything we have learned about the alien evacuation and the approaching threat. Humanity has 18 months to prepare for a war that the rest of the galaxy was too scared to fight. The Liberty continued its journey toward the approaching darkness while behind them, the abandoned worlds of their former alien allies waited in silence. Humanity was about to face the greatest challenge in their history, and they would face it alone because the Council had decided that humans were too dangerous to save. Jake Morrison stood at the big window of his spaceship and watched Earth get smaller and smaller behind them. The blue and white planet looked so peaceful from here, but Jake felt worried. For 3 whole months now, every message humans sent to the Galactic Council got no answer back. Not one single reply came through their communication systems. The spaceship Liberty moved through the dark space between stars. Jake was the commander, and he had good people working with him. Dr. Lisa Martinez sat at her computer reading data that made her frown more each day. She looked up at Jake with tired eyes. The numbers are clear, Jake. Every single alien race in the Council stopped talking to us at exactly the same time. This cannot be just bad luck or broken machines. Jake walked over to look at her screen. The data showed communication attempts to 47 different alien worlds. Each message was sent properly and reached its target, but nothing came back. It was like shouting into an empty cave. Captain Ben Rodriguez worked at the sensor station nearby. He was good at finding things in space that others might miss. His fingers moved quickly over the controls as he searched for any signs of alien activity. Sir, I am seeing something strange in the Centauri area. There are many Council ships moving together in patterns I have never seen before. They look like they are running away from something, but I cannot tell what. The Liberty had been flying for 2 weeks now, trying to find answers. Earth's government sent them to investigate why all the aliens suddenly went quiet. Humans had only been part of the Galactic Council for 5 years, but they thought they had made good friends with many alien races. The silence felt like being ignored by friends who used to talk every day. Lisa stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. She pointed at a distant star system where they knew a big alien trading post existed. Jake, we should go there first. Station Harmony always had hundreds of alien traders coming and going. If anyone is still talking, they would be there. The journey to Station Harmony took 3 more days. As they got closer, Ben's sensors picked up the massive structure floating in space. But something was very wrong. The station that should have been bright with lights and busy with ships looked dark and empty. Ben, are you getting any life signs from the station? No, sir. The whole place looks dead. No ships in the docking bays and no power signatures from the living areas. It is like everyone just packed up and left. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Station Harmony was huge. It housed thousands of beings from dozens of different alien species. People lived there their whole lives running shops and businesses. It was not the kind of place that would empty out quickly. Take us closer, Ben. Lisa starts scanning for any messages or data they might have left behind. The Liberty slowly approached the silent station. Through the windows they could see the docking bays that used to be full of alien ships. Now they stood empty like the mouth of a sleeping giant. The hallways that once buzzed with alien voices and activity showed no signs of life. Lisa worked at her computer trying to access the station's databanks. Most systems were locked down, but she found some emergency broadcasts that had been recorded just before everyone left. Jake, I found something. There are automated messages that were set to broadcast after the evacuation. They are encrypted, but I think I can break the codes. While Lisa worked on the codes, Jake and Ben searched the station with their sensors. They found something that made them both feel sick. In the cargo areas, there were supplies and personal belongings left behind. Whoever lived here left so fast they could not take their things with them. Sir, this is really bad. Look at these readings. There are family photos and children's toys just left on tables. These people did not plan to leave. Something scared them so much they ran without packing. The first decoded message made everything worse. It was from a Zephyrian trader who managed one of the biggest shops on the station. His voice sounded scared as he spoke into his recording device. Emergency log day 1247. The Council has ordered immediate evacuation of all Outer Rim territories. They say a threat comes from outside our galaxy. We must retreat to the inner systems, right away. The humans must not be told. The Council believes their violent nature would make them do something dangerous that would get us all killed. Jake felt angry and confused at the same time. The aliens had received some kind of warning about danger and decided to run away without telling humans anything about it. They just disappeared and left humanity alone to face whatever was coming. Lisa decoded more messages and each one said the same thing. The Galactic Council had detected some kind of massive threat approaching from the space between galaxies. Instead of working together with humans to face this danger, they chose to hide in the center of the galaxy and leave humans behind to die. How long ago did they leave, Lisa? The last messages are from 4 months ago, Jake. They have been gone for a long time. We have been sending messages to empty space for months without knowing it. Ben found something else with his scans. Far beyond the station, his sensors detected the remains of what used to be a small planet. It looked like something had torn it apart and taken pieces away. Whatever had destroyed that world was unlike anything in human experience. Jake looked at his crew and saw the same determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. The aliens had abandoned humanity because they thought humans were too dangerous and reckless. Maybe they were right about humans being different, but that difference might be exactly what the galaxy needed now. Set course for Earth, Ben. We need to warn everyone about what is coming and prepare for whatever the aliens were so afraid of. If they think we are too reckless to help, then we will face this threat our own way. The Liberty turned away from the dead station and began its journey back to human space. Behind them, the empty alien worlds waited in silence, but ahead of them, Earth and the other human colonies continued their daily lives with no idea that they had been left alone in a galaxy that was about to face its greatest threat.